like to welcome Karen Desange.
Thank you for adding the stairs, Gaurav. I appreciate it. So there is a beautiful saying that if you only say one prayer, and if it's thank you, that will be enough. So I'm going to start there just with a bunch of thank yous. So this room, this is what true community really looks like. And events like this, they don't just happen by accident, right? They're built on a whole bunch of tiny little acts of kindness and people, stepping up for you. Sometimes I put messages out to my network in the odd hours and say, hey, would you like to join us? And the response is, we ride at dawn, which in women's terms mean, I'm in, I'll show up. What are we doing? What are we wearing? When do you need me? So thank you to all the ladies who rode at dawn. So it really is about the people that show up for you, and you are the ones that help make icons come to life. I did also want to acknowledge our sponsor, Scotia Women Initiative. Your team graciously attended last year, saw what we're doing here, believed in the mission, and now you're part of the mission, so we're really proud of that. To Grant and the Concord team, we can't say it enough. It's a tough time right now, guys, in all markets and all industries, and the fact that you opened your doors to us again means a lot to us, so thank you for this beautiful space. Sharn and the Gold Key Insurance team, thanks for believing in our mission and sparking female leaders of the future and their paths forward. To all of our in-kind vendors who lent their products and services, some of them are sitting right there, and many of them are female-led and female-owned businesses, okay? And that didn't happen by accident. So, from our sponsor, Pure Pharmacy, which is women-led, to our decor company, Lux, which is led by Raj, to the company that created our florals, to Harp's company that donated our gifts for the speakers today, and to our dessert company run by Ravina at Just Cakes. Even our sign company is Paneet. Even our photographer, Michelle, is a mother of 5, raising her girls on her own, women-led business. So all of that is intentional. Doesn't just happen by accident. So it's sort of a way that we have to start thinking. That's a great start, right? So even in a province like BC, only 1 of 5 businesses are women-led. So yes, we're seeing progress, but we have a lot of work left to do. And we still need to continue creating platforms like this so that women get a chance to shine. Thank you to all of our incredible panelists. Rohini, who's moderating today, Yasmin Gandham, our fabulous MC. Thanks for saying yes, because I think this is probably one of the hardest jobs. To all of our community partners and education supporters who helped us spread the word, young women in businesses here today, and that is exactly who this event is for. It's really for young women who are, in university, contemplating careers, not quite sure where the future lies, in a time of chaos and uncertainty, and so many. It's hard to find work and build careers right now. So they need events like this more than ever, and that's why we're doing this. To our student volunteers, we're here from LA Matheson School, Surrey Schools, UBC, SFU, and Kwantlen as well. Let's not forget the colleges. Thank you for your helping hands today. And even though many of you are working, our volunteers, this event is also for you guys. So if you get a chance, guys, to follow every single person in this room on LinkedIn, please do it, because that is a wonderful way to get connected and get started. I did want to acknowledge my sisters are in the room here, my wonderful sisters, Jindi, Bonnie, and Harji, who took time out from work, from being grandmothers to be here today. And I know I do a ton of stuff, so it just means so much to me that you guys are here. Okay, and I did want to acknowledge my sister, since we're in the realm of real estate here. She started real estate in 1979. And Jindi, why don't you just stand up for a second? She was, she's my older sister. We're bookends. She's the eldest, I'm the youngest, and there's a bunch of us in between. But she was one of the first women of Punjabi heritage to practice real estate in BC at that time. There's so few. So good for you, following our Aunt Paula. But she tells me, in that time, having a woman's face and number on a billboard and being of South Asian descent would open her up to a lot of harassment when she was just trying to do work. And the funny thing is, Sidra, who is a young realtor, has the same issue, so there's something inherently wrong with that, and something that I just, kind of had to acknowledge. And finally, to both my moms, my mom by birth, Mom Jo Hall, who's 93 years old, and Mama DeSange, who is 83. Round of applause. So they've both kind of concurrently been facing some health challenges lately, and they're super resilient and strong. And I do dedicate this event to them because at the time when they came in the 1950s and 60s, there were no opportunities like this that existed for them. So, maybe they never got to fulfill those dreams. So when I'm in a room, every room I enter, I carry their legacies and their stories with me, knowing that I have opportunities that they didn't have, and that I have to pay that forward somehow. So why are we doing this? Why are we gathered here? Yes, it's International Women's Month. Not day, it's International Women's Month. We're still in March, but it's really about, we're talking about AI today, but at the very heart of it, it's about human connection, right? That we feel like we're missing. We're in such a digital and online world, and this is about getting together in person and having that human touch point. And it's not enough that we have sort of a handful of women out there that we're seeing, and we're kind of seeing the same women again over and over. But it's really our duty to ensure that this female representation continues into the next generation. And it's not necessarily easier for them. Talk to some women in your circle and find out what their barriers are. And if you have an opportunity to lend to them, give them that opportunity, transition your knowledge, answer that message on LinkedIn, hire that summer intern. I invite somebody who has just started a new business, Erin Saul, to come be a part of this. That is something that takes nothing from us to do. But just think of all the connections she will make here. So that's the kind of thing I think if we can all start to think about who is in our sphere of influence and how can we help them level up. So nominate a woman that you know for an award. Highlight the good work that a woman did on a conference call. It takes nothing away from you. And think about the last time that you actually did something like that. So the truth is, the real work doesn't actually happen in this room. It's going to happen after we leave this room. And it's going to be about what we do when we're in the position of power somewhere to make sure, we're not just that we're in that room, but to make sure that we're not the last ones. So I wanted to leave you with one quote. I do measure success by how many women's names that I said and I spoke with love in the rooms that really matter, and not just speaking my own. So that's just something I really wanted to leave with you guys. Say their names and make those connections for others. And you'd be surprised how that goodwill just comes back to you triple fold. So I really believe in that. And this is why we're doing this event. Thank you. Awesome, thank you. I think these are my notes, yeah.
Oh.
And I do want you to introduce the girls, but I just wanted to say something.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can we have Sushma Ji please stand up? Just wanted to acknowledge you were part of my speech, and I got nervous. Those of you who don't know, Sushma Ji is the first female to have a broadcasting license with the CRTC. And growing up here in the 70s and 80s, when Sushma Ji's show was on, us kids weren't happy because it meant that we didn't get the TV, because our parents were glued to the program because it was the first time they could see somebody who was like them, speaking their language, bringing the stories of back home. And through the years, I started to sit and watch with them too. And you really are a singular voice. And then to think, fast forward years later in the 1990s, when you started Women in Focus, and you featured me and so many others in this room. You were creating this platform even before we knew that we needed a platform. And I just want you to know that you are the true icon in this room. Thank you so much.
Okay, so I'm going to start welcoming our panelists. I'll start with Sharn Binder, the co-founder of Gold Key Insurance. While she's making her way, I'm just going to tell you a bit more. So she has more than 30 years of experience in insurance and financial services. She specializes in advanced planning strategies that protect wealth, manage risk, and support long-term financial security. Sharn is also the founder of a full-service brokerage offering personal and commercial insurance solutions. So thank you so much, Sharn, our first panelist. Next, Rajveer Grewal, CEO and Creative Director of Lots of Bears. Raj is an entrepreneur, investor, and community leader whose work sits at the intersection of business, creativity, and service. She is the co-founder, CEO, and creative director of Lots of Bears, a leading Canadian event production and design firm known for large-scale celebrations, cultural experiences, and global brand events across North America. And Raj is also the co-founder and co-executive director of Be the Light Society, where she advances education and mentorship for South Asian girls and supports young women in building confidence and pathways to independence. If you don't know, she's also done events for like Shane Mitchell and stuff, so it's pretty good. Harp Sohal, founder of Pink Orchid Studio. Harp is the visionary founder of Pink Orchid Studio, turning her passion for makeup and hair into an industry, leading beauty brands known for bridal and non-bridal services. She has now expanded her significant impact by launching a cosmetic line and the Pink Orchid Studio Academy to mentor aspiring artists. Beyond beauty, she also founded Harper Living, a blog and decor store reflecting creative style. Navir Butler, president of Navir Technology. Navir leads the delivery of innovative software solutions that enhance customer experience across industries. Since founding the company in 2018, she has built a trusted technology partner known for its reliability, expertise, and personalized approach to complex business challenges. And she's also a close family friend. Sidra Subwari, president of Pacific Real Estate. Sidra is a respected luxury real estate professional serving White Rock, South Surrey, and surrounding communities in BC. She works with first-time buyers, luxury estate sellers, and multi-property investors. She has international reach, attention to detail, and it makes her one of the most trusted names in high-end real estate. So please welcome our amazing panelists. And of course, none other than Karen Desange, right behind me, who is moderating the panel. So I'll take it to Karen. Thanks so much.
Okay, so I feel like I dreamed this panel, and it's here. It came to life, and not only are these ladies incredibly accomplished, as Yasmin has described, they're also my dear friends. So this is just an example of creating platforms and just creating space for women to come together. And Sharn, I know we just met today, but we're fast friends now. So let's get into it. Let's talk about how the AI is shaping the future of your businesses. Okay? So the first question is for all of you, and we'll start with you, Sharn.
Yeah, right.
Yes, can you? Okay, a little bit closer. Okay. Do you want to come up with me? Okay, so is it still? Okay, perfect, thank you. Okay, so let's get to know a little bit about how you work. I think, I mentioned that there's a lot of young women in the audience here, some that are in university, some that are changing paths. So they want to know, are your jobs interesting? Are they going to be around in 20 to 30, 40 years? As that AI is not going to make it obsolete. What does a day in the life of your work look like, Sharn?
Is this on? Can you hear me? Okay. Well, my day is very structured. My business may not be as structured as my day needs to be, otherwise things tend to fall behind. most of the day, in the beginning of the day, it's usually following up with underwriters, bankers, lawyers, accountants to make sure that my clients' files are moving forward so that there's no delay. And then I'm following up with clients, making phone calls, connecting with people I may not have met before through my network, going for lunch and coffee. I know it sounds glamorous, but it's actually, you're constantly reaching out for new leads and making new connections. And sometimes those connections don't equal to a dollar value, but they do bring more of a relationship that perhaps there's something I can provide them in my years of knowledge that they may not know, but it brings me together with people that I may not have met before.
Okay, wonderful. So next, Raj, we all think your job is really glamorous because we see the end result, right? But there's a lot of hard work and blood, sweat, and tears. Tell us about it.
First of all, thank you, Karen, for having me here. It's such an honor to sit among these beautiful and very talented and smart women. My days are chaos. Like, realistically, we don't sugarcoat it. We plan for, I'm also a mom, so my number one priority is to get my son to school on time. And so I go to sleep late and I wake up early. And that's a reality because I juggle a lot and we all wear a lot of hats. So my days can be very well planned, but the nature of our business is that we are firefighters, right? We gotta put out fires, whether they're for our clients, internally, externally. So our days are mapped out, and before we are on site for any production, 80% of the work happens before we arrive. So we are meticulous in our planning. I meet with my team every day, and you are only as good as the people around you. So I think, similar to what Sharon said, is building out those relationships, not just internally, but externally. So I do a lot of work on the computer. I do a lot of site visits. I drive around a lot. I wish I had a driver. I do not. And yeah, at the end of the day, I spend time with my family. And I put my head down and go to sleep as a good person. I feel good about what I did that day. We just do our best each and every day, but it is a whirlwind. And that's beyond the street.
Awesome. Harp, how about yourself?
Oh my God, doing someone else. Well, I don't really have a typical day, I'll be honest with you, and I think that's the reality of being an entrepreneur. There's days where I'm traveling the world teaching my master classes or leading my team, developing products, working on the next app. And also I'm a mother and I am a wife, and I think for me, just navigating my life leadership is what I do. Every day is organized chaos, but I thrive in it and I live for it. I really, really love what I do, so I think it's like a privilege to wake up every day and have a list of things to do and just get through them at the end of the day and just feel really proud of the work that you've done.
It's awesome. Manveer.
Well, I want to say thank you, ladies, for validating my chaos because I feel like, yeah, what these women said is exactly what my day is like. It starts at the crack of dawn, balancing East Coast projects at 5 a.m. in the morning, which is 8 o'clock for them, to getting my kids to school on time, making lunches, breakfast, you name it. My peace actually begins when I step into the office, as odd as that may seem, but I see a few chuckles, so I think you ladies can relate to that. And that's where the structure comes in. And then it's back to chaos in terms of juggling the requirements of work, being an entrepreneur in the startup space, and my family. Well, not only my kids, but other families and friends and my own stuff as well. So that's a beautiful blend of some structure and a lot of, running around.
Sidra.
Thank you. I feel like I'm not the same answer, but I'm in real estate, so my days are very unpredictable. I started having structured my calendar and things change on a whim. So yeah, it's probably chaos, but I remember I used to really strive to have work-life balance because everybody was talking about, every day you go to work and you have balance. I like to say I have work-life harmony. Like, I really just try to strive for that. Everything built out my day is around, like, my work is my life and life is my work. That's a natural part of what I do. So There's very little structure, but it works really well for me. I have a great team, an amazing business partner. He's not here today, but he's a huge backbone in our business, and an amazing husband. So I really surround myself with people that I've built my life around that because I have to be very fluid. So I think probably a little chaos, but I do enjoy that.
Awesome, thank you, ladies. So common through line with all of them, a lot of hard work, a lot of grit, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, all the stuff beneath the surface, and the invisible work of women, which we're going to touch on as well. So the next question is all around working smarter and not harder. So the promise of AI, how are you leveraging data and AI to work more efficiently in your business now? So Raj, we're going to start with you on this one.
So data is, you think, okay, how are you dreaming up events and using data and AI? And we actually are meticulous in how we do events. We're not just wedding decor. I try not to get offended when people say that, but we do very strategic events. We work with international brands. We work with organizations that have many stakeholders and investors. So knowing to scale what is happening for any event and project, we're project managers. So we lay out the foundation and groundwork. That 70 to 80% of that happens before we arrive on site. A lot of it is personal design, all of those things, but the majority of it is actually technical. And it is technical to, where this light bulb is being positioned and is there engineering to actually hang that light bulb. So the advantage we have is digging for information and utilizing AI to fast track everything that we do. There's also a lot of, if you've worked on different projects, everyone knows development, you're kind of in a great spot for it, but 3D modeling. So 3D modeling has become imperative in our business, and being able to showcase our more strategic partners on how, before even walking into a space, what it's going to look like and what it's going to feel like. And that's all visual mapping.
So Raj, your business is a lot of moving parts, and are you starting to create a repeatable process with AI?
The $50 question. I would say our processes are streamlined in terms of what we use and how we utilize it. But there is still so much humanization in our business that it is difficult, but we are trying. And it is a big part of the trajectory of our business.
Wonderful,
So, yes.
wonderful. And so Harp, being a beauty business owner and founder, people may not think that you use AI, right? Because you're in a creative industry, and that's not true. Tell us why.
I love AI. At first, when I was like, oh my God, it's going to replace everything, all jobs, but now AI has become my silent business partner. I use it from all layers of my business, whether it is in the back end, scheduling, taking client data, to just developing COPs. We use it for the admin part a lot, but for the creative side, it's helped me so much. Whereas before, you have to really be creative and have to think, okay, what is the content that I'm going to be producing? Now, it helps me with face shaping, content creation, analyzing and forecasting trends before they even happen. Whereas before, I had to really stay on the beat of the pulse. Now, I rely on AI, and it just has helped me so much in my business. Going forward, I like when there's new apps that come on, that especially for the beauty industry, I just always feel like I get super excited about it. So I'm excited for AI and incorporating it into the beauty industry.
Wonderful. I'm going to skip over to Sidra. Being a realtor, I met you were actually a realtor and sold our home and helped us get into our dream home. And I've been reading a lot about how people are saying that they don't need a realtor, that they can do their contracts themselves, and kind of taking that out of the equation. And from my perspective, you were the reason why we sold our home. So I can't imagine it happening without Sid, without the realtor. So why do we still need the human as part of the equation? Tell me how you use AI on your job.
Yeah, that's a good question. I like to look at it. I actually was also very fearful of using AI. I've been in the business now for about 12 years, and for the first 8 years, things were working well, right? We didn't use AI, we had our tools, we knew one of our clients, we knew what sold, we knew how many listings, everything else. Now you can have your client log in and they'll probably know the same data, if not more, than you. But I've noticed that the last little bit, we do get some of our clients will come forward and say, hey, so I think based on the data that I know, based on the trajectory, I think we should buy here. But we look at it as a whole. Like a lot of our clients, we look at them, we're family agents. We have a commercial division, but I'm a family agent. So whenever I'm looking at my clients and their goals, their kids, or health challenges, we look at it as a whole. There's a lot of emotions behind the deal. Data is one thing. I think AI is a tool. I think it makes us all better. I think if you use it right, it's better for everybody to make an educated decision. But sometimes, I think maybe Grant touched on the consultant factor. I almost feel the same. I think it's almost like the last push where I have clients call me and say, hey, we went through this open house and it all makes sense, but can you just put your eyes on it? And I walked clients out of deals, not because I didn't want the deal or want them to have the home, but because it might not have been the best decision for them at that time. So, and looking back, they're usually happy with that. So I think AI is fantastic. It's a tool. I don't believe it's going to replace us. We're not a task-oriented role. We have assistants that might do tasks. It makes it easier for us, but I really do think that when you have a good agent or someone, I know many good agents, there's emotional involvement that comes with that. And if they look out for your best interest, I think it's worth having an agent. Not going anywhere.
Fantastic. So Manveer, asking you the same question. How are you using AI on the job?
So for me, I'm in the startup space in the sustainable concrete industry. I've jumped industries. For me, there was a huge gap in knowledge of what I knew and what I was stepping into. I'm a business person. I know how to execute. I don't know the slightest thing about concrete. And so I felt like AI really helped me do all that heavy lifting, the research, the data analysis, all the stuff that I probably would have needed to rely on technical teams to get me to that knowledge base. And that's really where that strength has come in. I'm a relationships person, right? And so having AI as my thought partner behind the scenes really allows me to do what I do best, which is focus on relationships. And still have all that data to back me up when it came to that facts, figures, research. And now I'm a bit of a concrete expert.
Fantastic. Okay, so we'll come back to you over here, Sharon. Looking ahead for the young women that are in the room, is AI going to take your job?
Absolutely not. AI, like Manveer said, is a partner in my line of work because, if you look at it from an advisor's perspective, I'm able to take information that accountants, bankers, underwriters provide me and upload it into AI so that I can get a better understanding of where my clients' needs are. But not only as an advisor, but it's beneficial for my client too, because there's so much terminology in insurance that most people don't understand and don't have to face until they have a claim. And when you have a claim, whether it's against your home, your car, or whether it's a personal loss, that's an emotional attachment. You can't just go to AI and say, how am I going to recover from this loss? You can understand the terminology, but it's not going to take away the emotional attachment that comes with a financial loss of materialistic or a human person.
Okay, fantastic. Raj, I'll ask you the same question.
Yeah, never.
Okay, great, good.
There's no way that AI can replace what a human does, and I think I echo what Manveer said. We work with so many different industries, and it is your partner. It teaches you. It will make us faster, stronger, everything, but it will never be able to replace us.
Fantastic. So just on that point, I just wanted to say, yes, AI is not going to take your job, but the people who are using and leveraging AI effectively will. So for the young women and men in the audience is to learn how to capitalize on this tool and also tap into the qualities that you have that AI doesn't have, right? Like empathy and creativity and connection and intuition, all of those qualities cannot be automated. Those are only the qualities you possess, and they are the qualities that make really great leaders. So really hone into that, and you'll make yourself invaluable. So the next question, Harp, it's for you. So I talked a little bit about human connection in the beginning, how we're all longing for that because we're all in such a digital world these days. So tell me, in an increasingly AI world, how do you interpret the growing demand for authenticity, being real and having real human connection in life, but also in your business? Because you're really good at this.
I think the more digital we become as humans, the more realness is what we are actually looking for. Like in my business, I showed up and I literally story my life. And I just show up not perfectly, but just authentically. And I think that is what people crave. So whereas AI can create content, like authenticity is what really is the true, is truly what people are looking for, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't think that it's gonna take over any jobs, or at least not mine. I feel like as long as you can just show up authentically, you'll.
Fantastic. I'm going to come back this way to Sharn. I'm not going to lose sight of you, but I just want to ask you the same question about how you bring sort of authenticity and human connection in life and business.
Like I was mentioning before, the authenticity is actually building a relationship with the client, understanding what protection they actually need. You know, whether it's a loss from an illness or a loss from a job or a loss of a loved one, that human connection, that is an emotional attachment. AI is not going to be able to come in and replace that. I do believe that it's necessary for you to have a long-term relationship with your clients so that you understand what their continuous needs will be. I don't think it will ever come to that.
So definitely the more AI gets implemented, I don't know if you guys notice that you can feel when something is AI, you can feel when something is fake, right? So the pendulum is swinging back to realness. And just for people in the room, the young people, again, if you're using AI to craft your cover letter and I'm looking at it, I can tell this was AI, that it wasn't you. So I'm not saying don't use it. I'm saying use it as a starting point, but make it your own. Like speak in your own voice. And that's really what's missing, because like seriously, that resume will go in the garbage if I don't feel that it's you. So just a little tip there. Okay, so the next question is all about beyond the glamorous Instagram Reels, Harp. What has been your biggest failure and what did you learn from it?
I can't say what my biggest failure was, because I honestly think I failed more times than I've succeeded, and that is the honest truth. But every time I failed, I just pivoted. I learned so much from the experience, and I applied it to the next venture that I was doing. I feel like for myself, I'm one of those people that can't live with regrets. I would rather try and fail than to think back in my life and think, oh, I should have, what if I flew? So I've had so many setbacks in my career, but all of them, I learned so much from it. And even going forward, I feel like any time I have an idea, because I am a dreamer, even though I'm an entrepreneur, I'm more than a dreamer. I'm always like, how are we going to make this possible? And I'm gonna have to do it, even if I fail. But that's okay, that's a journey. Just learn along the way.
I've also seen you pivot, right? Like during times of COVID when all of a sudden there's no wedding in industries, you're losing essentially all of your income because people can't gather. And you began a lot of online, webinars and courses to teach women how to do their makeup. And I've taken your course. So tell me about the whole thing of pivoting.
Yeah, just pivoting. When one door closes, you have to open the other one. You just have to create the opportunity for yourself. Like in this day and age, we're constantly evolving, things are changing all the time, especially in my industry. People don't like to, after COVID especially, people don't like to have face-to-face interaction. Everyone's living in a digital world. So that's when I decided to take my academy, which was so successful before one-on-one. I really had to see, like, what can I do when no one's coming to classes? I have to go online. I have to start teaching online. I have to do an online academy or switch to an app. But I think in any business, you just have to pivot and grow all the time, learn and just keep going, persevere.
Yeah, I think that whole concept of being flexible and being able to adapt with anything that's thrown at you is a huge skill when you're starting out your career. It will serve you really well. Manveer, how about yourself? What has been a big failure and what did you learn from that? What's the biggest lesson?
So you're asking probably one of the most private people to be vulnerable with a crowd of essentially a bunch of strangers. But you know what? Yeah, I guess this is one of those moments of authenticity, and I'll be straight. Hyper independence is one of the things that's cost me a lot. The faces and the people who know me in this room know that it's incredibly hard for me to ask for help. And so I'm doing things on my own a lot of the time, and that leads to struggles. It leads to burnout, it leads to depression, it leads to health issues. And the key takeaway from that is, like Art said, the list of failures is long. I'd be keeping you guys here all afternoon if I started listing them all out. But there is a common theme, and that's misalignment. When you're not aligned with what your purpose is, when you're not aligned with your natural talents and what you're good at, it leads to a lot more costly mistakes, things that are far more costly than monetary, right? And that's really hard to bounce back from sometimes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd say that's kind of where my failure is at.
Thank you for sharing that. And just want to touch on what you said, the whole concept of taking on so much and not saying no, just signing up for everything. As women, we have to start to say no. And there does come a time when what we've done is enough, right? Like we don't always have to be at everything. And to be very conscious of that, especially as we get older, right? We have to really look after and put our health and wellness first. And we're going to talk about women's health in the next intermission, but there's a lot of power in that. And there's also a lot of power, not just in the failure, but it's the get back up, right? There's so much to be learned there. And we don't often share our struggles, we only share the good parts. So, I think encourage everybody just to do that with your inner circle and the people that you trust, because chances are women, they also experience something that you went through. So it's just a great thought. Thank you for sharing.
That's where we can leverage some of the tools that we have at our disposal, right? I know this talk is about AI, but it does, like I said earlier, do a lot of that heavy lifting. It takes a lot of those administrative tasks off my hands and allows me to do the things that actually fill my bucket, right? And I think that's where the tie into that question is that, leverage it, use it to take away all the things that you don't want to do so you can focus on the things that make you happy.
Wonderful. So many founders, like all of you, wear multiple hats, but as women, we also carry the invisible workload, which I did want to touch on again. We have been doing this for generations. We've seen our mothers do this, right? To their own detriment. So I just want to talk a little bit about the mental load, the emotional labor, all those things that we do as women that go unnoticed. So if I just, looking at this room, like what did you have to do to be here today, right? Did you make dinner before you left home? Did you have to organize 2 people to pick up your kids from school? All of spring break, they're on spring break, but that is, maybe you had to go visit your mom in the hospital before you came here, right? These are things. We're also this sandwich generation where we're raising kids still, and we have elderly parents, right? And we're also care about them and care about their well-being. So we deal with a lot. So I just want to pose that question to you, Sharon. How do you manage the invisible workload, and has AI helped you?
Absolutely. There's so much that I've just uploaded into AI and sent out to whoever needs it so that I can focus on the other things. I've been an only parent since my child was born, and just to touch on, the multi-factors of hats that you have to wear, my son once came to me and he said, "Mama, what's a loser?" And I said, "Oh no, why?" And he said, "Because somebody called me a loser because I don't have a dada." And I said, "Oh no," I'm bawling my eyes out thinking, how am I going to protect this kid? And I'm like, "No, it's okay, I can be your dada. And you can call me Mama or Dada." And he's like, "Okay, Dada, can I have some ice cream?" Mama said it was okay. So as an only parent, I'm juggling being a mother, a sister, a brother, a friend, everything that I need to be to make him into this wonderful young man. And had I had those tools earlier on, I would have been able to do so much more for him. But now I'm able to speed through a lot of the processes that need to get done so that I can focus on more of my time with him.
That's really special. Thank you for sharing that. As a marketing person, I use AI daily to revamp the website, to organize and schedule social media, to develop digital content. It's a big part of my day, but also helping implement AI for major corporations is something that my company does. So, we're at the cusp of that and using it on an enterprise level, but also using it on a personal level. So, Manveer, I'm going to ask you, how do you reclaim your time, your energy, and focus with AI?
Oh gosh, it's become a part of my daily life, right? Whether it is using scheduling assistants to help me schedule my days, whether it's scribe assistants for taking down meeting minutes so that I'm no longer the scribe anymore, from generating leads, using the Sales Navigator to generate leads for me, which is not a strong suit, but it gets the job done, right? So I can pull myself away from all those things that I don't like doing. I get AI to help me with that so that I can focus on I can go on. I actually realize how reliant I am becoming on AI as my partner, right? And again, in the startup space, it is sometimes quite lonely because it's you and a whiteboard and your notes, and you're trying to figure out how to do A, B, C, all while doing D as well. And so I found that using the AI tools that are out there are now helping me do that. It is essentially becoming a business partner of thought.
Wonderful. Did you want to add anything?
Oh, no.
You're good?
I was just saying, you don't have to focus on the mundane tasks anymore so you don't burn out, but you really get to focus on growing your business and what kind of impact you can make. So the burnout is less. Whereas before it was trying to get through all your tasks. Now, like I always joke to my team, Claude is my boyfriend.
Awesome. So in the spirit of International Women's Day, Raj, how have female relationships and your mentors and your trusted circle, your sacred circle, helped you in your journey to where you are right now?
Yeah, I think trusted circles, support systems, mentors, whether they're younger, older, or your peers, are instrumental to your personal success and your professional success. And I can probably say that Karen is one of my mentors, my friend Nora, many of the ladies here, my best friend. But you need, when wearing all of these hats, Shushmaji, I wanted to cry the first time I saw her because, it was just so emotional. You aspire to be like these individuals one day, and then to be in these rooms with them, next to them, is so powerful. And I think I sound like a broken record, but you're only as strong as the people that you have around you. And I think one of the things that I can say to some of the young women is, don't be fearful, right? If you want to talk to somebody, just go up to them and talk to them and take that risk and take that chance. But I think it's really, and we hear this word mentorship so much. We didn't really know what that was, but I would pivot to relationships, right? Build meaningful relationships and don't fake it till you make it. Be vulnerable and talk about, like, here's what I want to do and I don't know how to do it. Can you help me? And I think that's really important, to be honest with yourself and honest with the people that you want to talk to, because relationships are becoming so surface level that if you meet someone and you really do want help with your business, or you want to get somewhere like, hey, I really love what you're doing, Karen, can you help me? Maybe we don't need to be best friends, but I need help to get there, and I respect what you're doing and that you're already in that position. We can be technical and tactical with our relationships as well, as long as we're honest about them.
Yes, and that's absolutely a round of applause for that. Barb, just the power of connection. One of my friends here started a baking business, and when I saw her, there's a lot of people around, I said, who do you want to meet? And she said, well, Raj, right? And I said, oh, Raj, meet my friend. So those things, they seem so small, but they're actually not. They're really important, because she may not have a chance to meet or have access to Raj, or Sidora Harp or Sharn or any of you on this panel. And so doing that is just a really easy thing to do. And I'm sure that'll open up a lot of opportunities for her, right? So let's do more of that. Harp.
I am the woman I am because of the women in my life. My team, my mentors, my family, Karen, you already know this, such a mentor in my life. You open the door for everyone. And like Rob says, you hold it open. It's like, without the women in my life, I wouldn't be doing what I am doing. And I truly think to measure success is not how far you get, it's just how many people do you take with you. And that's honestly, I really believe that in my heart. And even with our academy and our mentorship program, my greatest pride is to see my students like surpass me. That's my legacy. To like, so they can carry on the art, they can carry on. And I think without the women in my life, I honestly wouldn't be here.
It's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for that. Sidra.
I echo all of that. When I started, I was 23 years old, and it was a very male-dominated, it still is very male-dominated, but it was more so at that time. I was very young. I remember I followed a couple women realtors that I looked up to, and I said, oh, can you meet me for coffee? And just to be super candid, they were all super busy, so nobody got back to me. And my first mentor in the business was a man. He was amazing. I grew my business, but I learned what men do in the business. And I was so focused on being like that. You know, I'd be in the room, someone would share something vulnerable across the table, and I just look and, oh yeah, like I'm not affected by that. I'd go home and cry. So I thought I feel so bad for that family. But I didn't own that feminine side. And over the course of the years, I had amazing women mentors that actually came in the form of clients to me, different. Karen's one of them. We've touched on it many times. Karen, you held the door open for me and said my name in so many rooms that I wasn't even in. My business and who I am, I wouldn't be here without the women in my life. It's not just relative to my career. It's social, it's family, they're now family to me. But I remember one woman in the past, she put me in a room and said, there's a conference you just have to go to. And although I am a very extroverted career, I'm actually a very big introvert. And I said, I'm not going to go. And she's like, just come with me, I'm booking you a flight, and we're going to go. And we went to Toronto, and it was a Kevin O'Leary private event for Shark Tank, and I looked at her, and she got me in a room with people I'd never be in, and to this day I still have some of those relationships. So you just really never know. And it's not because you're doing it for the wrong reason. I think you just have to own the fact that we are women, and people want to work with us for that cause, for that reason.
It's awesome. Thank you, Sid. So the last two questions are rapid round, fast round, like less than 30 seconds. The first question is all around being in this always on digitally world, but also in a time of great chaos, right? There's a lot going on in the world, and we have to be aware because it affects us. Even if we think it's way over there, it does affect us. How do you stay aware without being affected? And how do you tend to disconnect from the digital world to preserve your own energy and your sense of peace? So Sharon, why don't I start with you?
Difficult question. Oh my God, that's a difficult question. I'm obsessed with my TikTok. How do I disconnect from the digital world?
Yes, and just all the kind of chaotic world that we're in, to be aware of what's going on, but also sort of just maintain your sense of peace, because it does affect you. I mean, it affects me.
I mean, I think family is really important, and I have this amazing network of friends who are my family, and my brother and his children, and I find that when you're with other people and you're communicating in person, you forget about the small dopamine shots that you get from TikTok or Instagram. And it's important to play board games and cards and have conversations about what's happening in the world. So the younger generation knows that there's more to it than just scrolling.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Harp, I know you take a digital detox every now and again. Tell us about how you protect your peace.
In a nutshell, I protect my peace by protecting my energy. Not everyone deserves my time or my response. Set boundaries, both professionally and personally. And I say that with such confidence, you really have to take my own advice, but really, just set boundaries.
So not everybody deserves access to you.
No, not everyone deserves access to you. You tell me that.
Yeah, I did, yes. Okay, sorry, my word. These are also rapid round, and the next one is for Raj. For the aspiring female founders in the audience, what is one piece of advice that you wish somebody had given little Raj back in the day, and how would that have elevated you even sooner?
One piece. I think being super confident, right? And to gain confidence, you have to know more than anyone else in the room. And you have to, similar to Sidra, we often walk into production rooms where it's very male dominated. If you don't know your information better than the next person, your confidence is automatically down the drain. Know everything. And now with AI, there's no reason why you shouldn't know everything. Know it better than anyone and everyone. If you are not educating yourself, even if it's about, water bottles, figure it out. Figure it out faster, smarter, harder before you're even in that room. Because once you're in that room and you're not materializing on those contacts and those relationships, as soon as you lose.
Such a good point, and I can echo that. Being a woman of South Asian heritage, starting in tech in the 90s, there wasn't a lot of Karens there, right? And I'm also not a technologist. I'm not a software engineer. I'm not a data scientist. But I have to actually sell that and have to, market that, those solutions. So often I would walk in and leave the best part of myself at the door. And I think Manveer, you said it like you're just trying to be like them. And then I really came to realize that the best part of me is what makes me different. It's what makes me stand out. And also I have skills that they don't have. So why am I leaving the best part of me at the door? My heritage, the fact that I'm a mom. Yeah, I need to leave, at a certain time to go pick up my kids from school at that time. So I just think, just going back to being your authentic self will serve you well if you can start doing that earlier, because it did take me some time. So,
Can I add something?
Yeah, please, yeah.
I think tech in general, like women up here talking about tech is very intimidating. We have to do our research. I actually am a tech founder now with my business partner and co-founder Jasmine, and I didn't think I would have a tech startup. And I'm used to investing in companies, and now I have to find investors for my company. And I think it's so scary, this world of tech, but there's women that know, and there's people that know about it and have gone through it. And I think I just need to go back to that piece of like asking for help. Because I told Karen, I know you have a lot of experience, you've done 3 acquisitions. After Icons, can you really sit down and talk with us? And if you're not asking for help, no one can help you. You're in the deep end by yourself.
And the funny thing with us is we cannot say no to each other.
No.
So we're just like, yes, okay, where do you want me? What should I wear? Right. So the same question, I wanted to pose that to you, Manveer. What advice would you give to little Manveer?
So my advice would be, put your hand up, right? Don't be shy. I'm not in the position that I'm in because I sat back. I saw an opportunity. I put my hand up. I didn't have the skills, and like Claude said, know everything. I didn't know everything. In fact, I knew nothing. But I knew that I could define a pathway from A to B, right? I'm an executioner. I didn't need to know the engineering behind how to build concrete slabs on these high-rises. I didn't need to know that. I had people who did that. But I knew how I was going to get the product that was in R&D into one of those floors, right? I knew how to define a pathway, I knew how to execute. So I'd say for any of the young people in this room, men, women, whatever, if you want something, put your hand up for it. I learned when I was doing my MBA not to hire for skill, you hire for attitude, right? And we employ that when we're hiring within our organization and any of the organizations that I've worked in. I've worked in multinationals. We train for skill, but what we want is we want that go-getter, not taking no for an answer attitude. And if you have that, God, there's nothing that's going to hold you back. So put your hand up and go for it.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I'm going to come back to you, Sid, but Raj, did you want to announce here at Icons Talk with Karen DeSange the app that you're launching?
We're actually in a development phase, and we will be launching and developing an app that will change the event industry. We will not be in Canada first because we are teeny tiny here, but we are Canadian and women founded, and it's gonna change my life. It's gonna change a lot of lives, and it will change how the event industry operates.
Super exciting, right? So we'll close with you, Sid. What is one piece of advice that you wish that you had heard earlier in your career?
I think it's similar to what I touched on earlier anyway. I think it's more so just, and Hart mentioned authenticity. Just trying to be like others in the room or mirroring somebody else that you think is successful or does well is only going to get you so far. And just tying it into AI, what'll keep you there is the AI, and all of this will help you move it forward, but being authentic with yourself, no one can replace you. I just wish someone told me that when I was younger, because I think I wasted a lot of years trying to be somebody, trying to be older than I was, in the role that I was, there's so many things, and I learned so much along the way, but I felt like I kind of cracked that code. It was probably about 5-6 years ago. I just stopped caring. I stopped caring what people think. I just wanted to be real. When I went into the room, I gave them my goods, and if it didn't work for them, it didn't work for them. And if it did, it did. And I think I felt a pivotal point and a pivotal change at that point. And that's probably the best piece of advice I wish someone told me before.
That's fantastic. Very good. Did you want to add something, Manveer? Okay. So just picking up on something the ladies said, when you are out there and you're applying for jobs, we want to know that you really want the job and that you've done your homework and you're asking smart questions, right? And if you're in the room, do your research, and I think that's one big thing is we want to see people with good attitudes. You talked about that, strong communication skills. Sometimes that is missing because a lot of this new generation is all digital, but knowing how to converse in meetings and do phone calls, all of those things are soft skills that actually are really important because that's how business works. So just one piece of advice, and I'll circle back to you, Sharon, if you'd like to add something on that.
One thing I will say, and it's imperative that every man and woman who is building a career for themselves, has built a career for themselves, understands why it's important to find protection of what you have built or what you're building. You are your number one asset. If you don't protect yourself, then whatever it is that you're building is going to stop right there. So find ways of how can your wealth and knowledge be passed down to the next generation, and how can they be protected from whatever it is that you have created. Think long term.
Okay, that's beautiful. And I love what you said there. As women, we tend to downplay our value and what we bring to a room, a company. And I would say stop playing small. And you're going to be your biggest advocate. Nobody's going to say, the value that you're bringing. And there's nothing wrong with that in the business setting, to take credit for your work and to speak up. Don't downplay what you do, because others are already doing that for you. So just one piece of advice that I've learned, kind of good ways to take credit for the things that I've contributed. So do that. I just want to say all your younger selves will be so proud of you right now to see you guys up here. Thank you for sharing so authentically and from the heart. Really. Yes, panel photo.
Your water bottles down. Do you want to come in the middle?
Oh, sure, sure.
Okay, everybody.
That's going to be right after this.
Look here first. Yep.
I think I'll do this.
Our feet are in.
Yeah.
Here we are, everyone. You gotta come to everyone. Roll it
Thank
up.
you.
I see
Thank
everybody.
you.
And then everybody just look straight down. Anybody in the audience can take as well. Thank you.
Okay, so you guys can stay near. Okay, we're going to have some presentations.
So I can start for your first budget first.
Yes.
Who's that videographer?
Oh, he's my guy. He's my social media guy.